Melee is so good and satisfying this patch. Just tried the tactical and sniper. The block weapon is so good now. I'm not sure how they fix the scan damage on tactical, but in the new highest difficulty, 2-block boom combo can put down a Hellbrute. It's crazy satisfying. Okay, he says satisfied, but I think they're I think they're getting typoed or something. Block weapons are definitely good now. We were talking about block weapons being a patch away from being meta, and I'm not too sure the adjustments put them in the meta category, but they do have their meta builds. But it's when I mean meta, I am kind of saying that they would be by far the best pick imaginable for melee, and obviously that's probably not the best place to balance them. They shouldn't be much better than fencing or balanced. That said, I do think block weapons are definitely a tad bit better than what we've seen them before the patch, or what we've seen from the block weapons before the patch, when you basically had to get 3 blocks to get 2 armor back. Now we need 2 blocks to get 1 armor back, plus, obviously, the melee damage bonuses. I really enjoy block weapons. I do think you need to have, like, a certain build for it. 100%, you need to make sure you're kind of building for melee. But that said, I've been able to stretch some really weird melee builds with sniper recently, and I still want to go back to tactical to get some melee builds out of that. You can basically get a melee build for balance, fencing, and blocking, basically. Like, you can find a good strategy. You can find a certain perk you like on a melee weapon that, gives you a unique attack. Melee is really good right now. Melee is so satisfying. I agree with this post. I agree with this post. Sorry. Holy cow. Block weapons is god tier now. Who needs a parry gun strike? Just click, click, boom. Also works on Hive Tyrant. 1 block combo, half the health bar. I'm starting to worry they might nerf it. No, I don't. Okay, we'll talk about nerfs later, but I don't think they're going to nerf anything. Block weapon is god tier now. I don't know if it's god tier now. I think yes, obviously block weapons are really powerful right now, but yeah, just slow your roll a little bit. The hype is there for sure. I do like the energy that this post has. But yes, melee weapons are really, really good now. They did a great job with melee weapons for the past couple patches, like introducing blocking and then making it a little bit more approachable. I do think melee weapons are in a really good spot right now, and I think there's still a fair amount of stuff to try out. Like, I want to try out that shoulder bash with sniper. I wonder if you can get a blocking boost with that. That would be pretty sick. But yeah, we're going to go into some discussions here to see what people are cooking up as far as melee weapons goes. Let me know in the comments if you tried out anything unique as far as, melee builds or melee perks, or if you're just simply trying out blocking weapons since they changed it. I've been enjoying them. I've been playing a lot of fencing, but I've also been playing a lot of balanced as well, because I think balance gives you a good amount of actual melee damage and DPS, while still having the parry capabilities. But I've been using a lot of gun builds, and I'm kind of dipping my toes back into melee. Of course, I went back to the blocking Thunderhammer. The blocking Thunderhammer is really good. That was one of the first things I tried out for the new patch. Using the new buffed melee perk on Sniper with Block Knife, and I feel like a rogue in a fantasy RPG. Get the 2 stacks cloak, booyah. Okay. But yeah, right. You would want to cloak and then hit your target with the blocking boost, and yeah, you can get a lot of damage from that. For me, the camo does so much now. I have a hard time kind of gauging what I actually want to do with the camo in that moment. So a lot of times I'm using camo to get my contested health back or buffing my melee, obviously. But yeah. Blocking combat knives are insanely powerful right now, especially for the sniper. But sniper can just do so much with their kit right now. Dude, sniper is so good. Block was amazing before patch, now it's just crazy strong, and I feel like it's good. It should stay as is. It's not that awfully strong if you don't put scan down, so they probably won't need to nerf it. It's not that awfully strong if you don't put scan down, so they won't need it. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think they need to nerf anything. Scan melee is one of the definitely one of the only ways you can get tactical to really make melee work, because tactical doesn't really have any health support really. So sometimes with melee builds you really need the extra DPS. It's just so you can get executions, just to get your armor back, you know, just to continue surviving the fight. Tactical cannot heal himself, so Tactical is kind of a risky class for melee, but I understand their DPS is insane. Fencing is still the easiest and the best. Block has improved, but I don't think it's worth the effort unless you want an extra challenge and occasionally build up a new kit. I don't know if I 100% agree with this. I get it, like that's basically at surface level, that's what blocking gives you, but don't sleep on the fact that blocking gives you extra damage just right off the gate, just from picking blocking. And then not only that, it has the best DPS out of all the other melee classes, or the other melee modes, I guess. Fencing is still really strong though. I have been using fencing. You can definitely use fencing with melee builds, with melee buffs as well. Like, you know, you can use a combat knife, give extra damage against Majorus, and yeah, go to town with some fencing. It's nice because the extra melee damage can help get that break point for that gun strike to mean a lot more. So you go in there, get a couple swings, and gun strike, boom, they're at executionable status. Still though, fencing, I get the idea with fencing. A lot of the gunstrike perks for, you know, upper difficulties, the important thing about it is to get your armor back. So a lot of the non-lethal gunstrikes, you know, from the fencing parries and balanced parries, that goes a long way because that gives you survivability, and not to mention, that's why I like balance, because you can still get some good melee damage out of balance and then also still get the parries and the armor you can get. But only so many classes actually get that armor perk for non-lethal gun strikes. So look, I still understand why fencing is really good, but I just think blocking's more reliable now compared to what it was. And I feel like if your approach is to, you know, make a class that is good at melee DPS, blocking is exactly what you would want, because now it's a little bit easier to survive. You only need 2 perfect blocks, and then you're ready to go with the built-up new kit. It's pretty strong. Yeah, it's definitely pretty strong. I don't know if I'd call it a new kit, but it's definitely worth getting the extra damage from the, you know, the blocking ability. Balance is worthless. Yeah, no, it's not. It is not worthless. You have the downsides of block weapons. You still can perfect parry, but it's harsher timing than fencing, and the stat difference between variants are pointless. Dude, no. No. Balance is, I've used a balanced Thunderhammer on Assault, and it's very powerful because Assault has those extra gun strikes, those extra gun strike perks, and then it also has extra melee perks now. So balance is actually where balance is in a really good spot right now, where it's actually kind of bridging the differences between blocking and fencing. Holy cow, man. This guy either really likes what he likes or he hates it. Balance is worthless. It's not. You have the downsides of block weapons. There's really no downsides to block weapons. I mean, you can still perfect dodge and get gun strikes if you really want. It's just something new that you got to practice and get used to. You got to keep in mind, fencing we've been using for hundreds of hours before they even added blocking. So it's kind of like one of those things that we just all got used to fencing and building around gun strikes, and then they added something that doesn't really do that. It takes a bit to really, practice and get good with it. But balance is good. Balance is good. Having the ability to parry and then also having extra melee damage goes a far way, especially for, you know, Assault, where that is basically the building block of my anti-chaos Assault build, where you get the gun strikes, but you also get the high melee damage. So you are getting the slam breakpoints to one-shot majors with ground slams, the jump pack slams. And then you also still have the parry capabilities for gun strikes that are getting your armor back. So that's a great way to keep Assault, having steady armor and, staying in the fight. Essentially, it makes the melee build for Assault have a little extra survivability. I've seen people have a lot of success with blocking, but it's just not for me. Hey, nothing wrong with that. I will admit, I do enjoy parrying as well. Parries feel satisfying to get. Most weapons I do fencing, but I go balanced combat knife. So they basically explain underneath here that they go with the balanced combat knife because of the extra speed. And they would be correct about this. This is a great way to approach that weapon where, you know, melee for Vanguard and Sniper, there are good melee perks for both those classes. And going with the balanced combat knife, you still get the melee DPS because of the swings, and then you're also able, you are also able to get the parries, which helps you, you know, land the gun strikes. So you get some really good DPS out of this. Bro, you gotta try the purple block chainsword. It's insanely fast. All right, that's interesting. So yeah, apparently the purple block chainsword here, you can maybe get 1, 2, or 3 extra attacks in during your DPS windows when using the what is it, Artificer blocking chainsword. Now that's interesting. I gotta try this out one day. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this one in mind. See, this is one I'm learning about. I think I've heard about this before, but I don't know if I had enough experience with blocking weapons to really like understand what they mean. Like I get that, you know, the blocking weapons are faster, but why would the purple blocking chainsword be faster than the relic? That's okay. I'm gonna have to try this out one day. Definitely let me know in the comments if you have any experience with the purple blocking chainsword. It seems like this is something that's kind of underneath the radar as far as strong melee weapons post patch 6.0.